All right, so let's go ahead and let's add this setup text. We'll add it here. And we'll take a look. And, well, it's okay, I guess. First things first is let's take this down to maybe 70. And this is the game title here. And the size of this was actually pretty good. We just want to change this to a little bit more. So maybe make it 700. So let's take a look at that. And yeah, so 700 was too much and avoid spikes is too much. So let's say 650 and the font size here is $6. Okay, or 60 here, not $6. All right, and that's actually looking pretty good. I kind of like that. Avoid spikes and play. And you can see here that that's looking pretty cool. Now, one thing that doesn't look too bad, which I'm going to show you, is if you change that to 500, watch what happens. It kind of moves it up here. And while 500 was a bit too much, having it overlap isn't exactly the worst thing here. That kind of looks good in a different way here. But let's just put it back to 650, and the Y here will make this also 650. Now I'm going to explain something in just a second here. What these numbers Y and mean here. So when you're using a UI button or a UI element, this is moving from the top. So the more you go, the closer to the bottom it will be. And the SpriteKit works the opposite way. It starts from the bottom and then moves all the way up to the top. So conveniently, these are both at 650. Okay, so let's take a look at that. And right now, it doesn't really do anything, but we can also add in a cool graphic in the middle. All right, and that actually doesn't look too bad. Now, should we, so for example, if we add the game title here, should we go game title dot z rotation is equal to 0.1? Should we do that? I think that actually does kind of look cool. If we do that, avoid spikes, and then the play here. For example, if you go to btn play dot, there is no rotation here with the btn play, so that's there, and I think it actually looks pretty good if you just kind of do that. Now, if you wanted to, you could go like 0.01, and that way it's just a little bit off, right? And you can kind of see that. Well, it's up to you whether you want to do that or not. I'm just gonna make it 1.0 at this time. All right, so let's go ahead and let's move to the next game here. So what we need to do is you need to go to self.view.present scene. We're going to present the game scene bracket transition here, and I'm actually going to go and say let the transition equal to sk transition dot doorway with duration, and I'll make it 0.4. We're going to be using this over again, so that's why I added it in here. So we'll say the transition, and remember the sk transition is something that comes with SpriteKit to make your transitions look pretty fancy. So we're going to go to btnplay.remove from superview, and we're going to go to game title dot remove from parent. You don't do this, they will persist into the next scene. Let's add in our scene change here, and we're going to say if let scene is equal to game scene. We're going to go to file name, and it's going to be game scene, and this needs a curly bracket. We'll say let skView is equal to self.view as skView. Then we're going to say skView, a small skView, and you can see it's a little bit confusing, right? That ignore sibling order is equal to true, and this is going to make sense in just a second here. And we're going to go to scene, the small scene dot scale mode, Okay, and it might make sense to put this as the scene. That makes a little bit more sense. So let's say the scene dot scale mode is equal dot aspect fill. Otherwise, your game will look weird. And then we'll get skview dot present scene. We're going to present the scene with the transition. Okay. And that should work. And I get this from the main view controller here. So we have scene, skview. It's a little bit unclear. I like everything to be a little bit more clear personally. But let's go ahead. Let's go to, well, the games. Let's just go ahead and run this, and let's see if it does indeed work. All right. So we'll take a look at this, and yeah, play. And look at that. That actually worked out really well. So that's how it works. And one last item. Yeah, we could probably slow this down to 0.8. Maybe make it a bit more dramatic. And we'll say, yeah, there we go. That looks pretty cool. And the next scene, we'll go and add in our items to our game scene. But before we do that, we might as well delete all of our extraneous code. And we tend to use all of this here. And yeah, all right. This includes a tutorial.